Hi everyone, it's me again in Velasco. If you recall from my previous video, I did a video on a Righteous Fire Templar in Hardcore. Today, I'm showing you the exact same Templar, except this time he comes with a few modifications which I will explain in this video. The most important thing to note is that this time my Templar is using the Pain Attunement node, which provides 30% more spell damage when on low life. So some of you may probably be thinking, what about chaos damage? Won't you get one-shotted by chaos damage mobs? Well, I'm pleased to show you guys my new toy, which is none other than Shavronne's wrappings. Yes, this item has a particular mod which we can read says that chaos damage does not bypass energy shield. The normal nature of chaos damage is that it will tend to bypass energy shield and go straight to your HP, but this time because of this mod, chaos damage, you can have 1 HP or 2 HP, but chaos damage, because it does not bypass your energy shield, will damage your energy shield instead of your HP. So before you guys go on to talk about, damn, this in Velasco, how in the world did he 6-link? Did he get a 6-link Shavronne's wrappings in HC? Well, let me tell you, it's all a luck. I got this unique 2 days ago. I think it was one of the first Shavronne's wrappings I found in HC. And I wanted to get 2 blue, 2 green and 2 red sockets. So, as usual, I decided to chrome it. I expected to take about 300 chromes or so. But on my 80th chrome, I got 3 green, 2 red and 1 blue socket. Which, I think if you ask any player, 5 off colors on an Intel chest or on any chest in particular is extremely difficult to get, but I managed to get it. With regards to fusings, I initially thought I took about 400 fusings, but when I checked my stash tab and counted my currency or whatever's left of my currency, I realized that it only took about 200 fusings or so. So all in all, I think I'm actually quite lucky. But hey, look at the bright side, if I wasn't that lucky, this video wouldn't be up so early. Well, let's talk about the build. If you guys had watched the previous video, you will notice some quite striking differences between this build and the previous ones. For example, in the previous build, I had taken these 2 HP nodes as well as this avoid cast interruption node. I had taken this bunch of this HP cluster as well as this HP node and these 3 nodes here. I had also taken these 2 HP nodes as well as the life regen node here. And last but not least, I also took this cluster of HP nodes without taking Pain Attunement nodes and without going all the way here to grab this ES nodes. Let me explain to you my decision for taking certain nodes. Previously I took this node because avoid cast interruption was important for me, because 2000 HP wasn't exactly the highest HP one can have in Merciless and in maps in particular. So despite having 2000 HP, you will be very prone to getting stunned by opponents if you're not careful. However, whereas I had 2000 HP before, this time I only have 695 HP, which basically means that I would be much more likely to get stunned as compared to before. However, I am using this particular unique Chayula, which reduces my maximum life but grants me cannot be stunned mod, which is not unlike unwavering stuns. Basically, because I can no longer be stunned, there is not much point in me keeping this node. With regards to HP, as I explained earlier, my only reason for taking HP before was because of chaos damage. Now that chaos damage no longer bypasses my energy shield, it's actually a good thing for me to have lesser HP, because Righteous Fire, which does about 100% of my maximum life per second as fire damage, because of my Inner Frost cluster, actually does 130% of my maximum life per second as fire damage. Previously, it did about 390 damage to me per second. This time, it does only about 136 HP per second, I think. So that is much better than before, because this time my ES regen is much higher than the damage per second that I take over time from Righteous Fire as compared to before. I did a few gear changes as well. For example, if you notice, this was my rings before. They had plus life and chaos resists. This one had plus life and chaos resist as well. However, my rings now mainly focus on granting me intelligence, so as to increase my maximum energy shield. And this ring here also grants me a lot of intelligence, so as to increase my maximum energy shield. And this is important because one of the key downsides of using Shavronnes, which only grants 564 ES, is that you lose out on the potential of about 400 base ES or so. So this was my previous chest. As you can see, 943 ES versus 564 ES. The difference is about 400 ES, which due to my passives is a loss of about 1.5 to 1.6k ES. So previously I had about 8.5k ES of discipline on. This time, you will see when I switch on discipline later, I have only about 8.1k ES. I've also attempted to counter the ES, the downside of having a lower base ES, by taking an additional cluster of ES nodes, so as to try to improve my overall ES. I took this cluster here before, cast speed cluster, but I decided to forego them this time in favor of this cluster, which grants me, because of 30 intelligence, grants me 6% increased energy shield, 9% cast speed, and a 10% increased spell damage, which all in all I felt was much more worth it and provided for a more optimized character. Before, I used Attunement, so I was allowed to neglect dexterity nodes on my tree. However, because Chayula only provides plus 20 to all attributes, dexterity was important this time. Okay, without further ado, I'll cast my aura so you can see how it looks like. Basically, I know it is possible to use the Covenant's unique chest so as to provide blood magic, so you can stack 3 40% auras on your HP. But to me, it felt like an exploit, and I'm not sure if the developers intend to remove this exploit in the future. So I decided to not build my character around that chest, and decided to just use the traditional reduced mana support and blood magic support to link my gems. Basically, the auras I'll be using today will be Vitality, Discipline, linked to my blood magic reduced mana gems, as well as Haste, Purity, and Blood Rage. Well, Blood Rage isn't an aura, but you'll see it later in the cast. It's quite interesting. I mean, I think no one has done Blood Rage and Righteous Fire together in HC before, so this should be quite interesting. So yeah, my other auras are basically Haste and Purity. Now, the downside of going low life in hardcore is that dark areas will appear much darker. So I'll just cast my aura so you can see. I'm using 1 flat aura and 1% aura in my HP pool, so it took quite precise calculations. So for example, Vitality reserves 56% of my HP pool. So it uses about 305, it uses about 390 HP. That leaves 305 HP. So Discipline reserves about 296 HP. So this grants me, yes, as you can see, I only have 9 HP out of my 695 HP, which is quite nerve-wracking, because it took me a while to get used to running around in hardcore with just 9 HP. And you can see everything has become dark all of a sudden, which is a downside. So those of you who know me will know that I like to use a variety of skills. So in order for me to still continue using Ice Nova, I mean, I could give up Ice Nova and just leave my gems here and use Molten Shell and Enduring Cry in these 2 sockets and not use Ice Nova at all. But because I like to use a variety of skills, I've decided to use these 2 gem sockets for Molten Shell and Enduring Cry instead. So basically, the good thing about auras, I'm not sure if this is going to continue on in the future, but the good thing about auras is that once they are cast, they stay cast, and you don't need to recast them whenever you enter new zones. So I can just remove reduced mana and blood magic, put in Molten Shell and Enduring Cry. And this time I have Enduring Cry here, Molten Shell here. And now I'll just cast my next few auras. So this is Purity and this is Haste. So this is Haste and this is Purity. So my tilted DPS for Freezing Pulse, as you can see here, is 1330. This is with the Pain Attunement bonus on. So I'll just go back to Shavronne and Common so you can see my DPS without Pain Attunement. As you can see, it's actually only a paltry 928 in camp. Molten Shell only has a DPS of 6663, and Firestorm only has a DPS of 780. So Eternal Lab, because of my Pain Attunement nodes and low HP, this time Molten Shell does 9608 DPS, Freezing Pulse 1330 DPS, and Firestorm 1122 DPS. Now let's switch on Righteous Fire. All of a sudden you can see that my DPS has gone up to 2853 for Freezing Pulse, 21,000 for Molten Shell, and 2420 for Firestorm. As you can see, I am the light in the darkness. It looks quite cool actually, but trust me, you don't want to play like this in maps. Which is why today I'll be playing an outdoor map, because I don't think I'll be casting Discipline and Vitality in dark maps, because as you can see, I can't see anything at all. This is interesting because I actually found this unique yesterday while exploring a dark area with Pain Attunement, and I was just thinking that, man, I hate this low light vision, and this unique dropped. So I tried it out, and as you can see, it doesn't really help anything, because I mean it provides 25% increased light radius, but I guess when your light radius is 0 to begin with, you don't actually see anything else, even if you increase it. Okay, what was I thinking? Oh yeah, I'll be doing this map today. Oh, one more thing. This is Blood Rage, so I'll just switch it on so you guys can see. As you can see, Chaos damage does not go through my energy shield. It actually damages my energy shield instead. But because my ES regen is about 359.8 seconds, 0.8 per second, and because Righteous Fire only does about 136, and because of my 59% Chaos resists, Blood Rage does about maybe 1.7% of my maximum life per second. So that only takes up about maybe 20 or so HP per second. So my ES regen still counters it very well. As you can see, my my energy shield is 8116. So I'll just go on to do this map now. It's an outdoor map, as I explained earlier. Just making sure that I have my skills that I need. Okay, Incinerate is here, Elemental Weakness. Alright. Okay, so Righteous Fire is on. So I'm using Elemental Weakness. Oh wait, let's switch on Blood Rage. As you can see, with 3 Frenzy charges, my casting rate has actually increased and my DPS has increased as well. It's now 3155 per second. With regards to gameplay, this is basically no different from a CI character in that I don't bother using health flask at all, because I mean, if you have 9 HP, if the damage goes through energy shield, you're basically dead anyway, so there's not much point in actually using health flasks. So in place of a Dispel Burning flask that I used before with regards to HP, this time I'm actually using a Granite Flask with Dispel Burning. So I'm going to use Enduring Cry. So this is Freezing Pulse. It's a bit boring though, so I'm going to try to replace it with Incinerate so you guys can see how it works. Instead of greater multiple projectiles, I'm going to use lesser multiple projectiles. And instead of, well, with DPS, my DPS with Iron Will is about 2537.9 per second. So this is how it looks like basically. But I'll be using Knockback instead of Iron Will, because I think the high cast rate per second will actually be quite useful. So my DPS is only about 1100 per second. As you can see, it's actually quite powerful. And with the knockback, I can actually knock back mobs. So you can see that they're getting knocked back here. So the thing about this spell is that it actually gets more powerful the longer you cast it. So you can see that it actually gets larger. If I wish, I can still use Firestorm from afar. So Firestorm. This is useful for me against mobs which can shock me or which can freeze me. Because this character, I mean, with such a low HP, it's basically a CI. It's basically a CI build, and CI builds. The traditional weakness of CI builds has always been the lack of defense against status ailments. So against freezing, I've actually attempted to counter that by just using mana flasks with Dispel Frozen and Chill, and just relying on Firestorm to kill frozen mobs from afar. So as you can see, I activated my Granite Flask with Dispel Burning, and that has resulted in my Righteous Fire disappearing. I'm actually leveling Grace. So you can see that they are getting knocked back. See, it's getting knocked back. He can't get close to me. But yeah, now that I want to, because of my lack of sockets, now that I've cast Righteous Fire, I have to do this again. That's I'm hoping the big monkey comes so that I can knock him back. Okay, there he is. As you can see, he can't even get close to me. He's trying to hit me, but he can't because I'm knockback. Look at that. He can't even get close to me. It's hilarious. That was quite fun. But yeah, basically Incinerate is quite useful if you know how to use it well. And that is the map done. Alright, let's head back to town so I can talk about this build a bit longer. So the thing about my sockets is that because I've got 3 green, 2 red and 1 blue, it's actually perfect for ethereal knives as well, because I can use EK here, I can use Mana Leech, I can use faster projectiles or chain or frog, I can use added fire, I can use life leech, and I can use faster casting. But the problem with EK is that with righteous fire and pain attunements, I think the DPS is going to be obscenely high. And because of this character's lack of armor, physical reflect will be a huge problem. I mean, I can counter physical reflect with Firestorm, but if I'm not paying attention, I could end up killing myself as well because of the obscene amount of DPS. The thing about elemental reflect is that it's not too much of a concern for me, because my elemental resists are quite high, 85%, 81, 85. I mean, cold resist is a bit lower at 81, but if I can max out 85, it means that my damage reduction from elemental reflect is 85%. And combined with the fact that I have life leech, elemental reflect is not a problem at all. Over here in my inventory, I have a number of other useful low life uniques. As you can see, this is Wonder Trap, which provides an increased rarity of items when on low life. So this is useful for me when I want to look for rare items or unique items. Now this is Red Big, which is an interesting unique because it provides 100% increased damage when on low life. So most of you will probably be saying that Red Big is probably the best weapon for this build. But let me just socket my gems back. Spiral, Impulse. Incinerate. Okay, let's switch on Righteous Fire again. Okay, let's say my DPS is currently 3. Oh, this is with LMP. Okay, my DPS is currently 5 times 2853 with Freezing Pulse. And that's with this one. As you can see from this one, this one gives me 118% increased spell damage, which is by far better than Red Big, which only provides 100% increased damage when on low life. So just to prove a point, my DPS is 5 times 2000. Okay, my tooltip DPS is 2853 right now. With this one, with Red Big, it actually drops to 2733. However, the benefit of Red Big is that because it's a sword, it provides a lot of mobility. So I can use Whirling Blades of Flicker Strike on it. This will come in very useful in PvP. Furthermore, because this sword provides 100% increased damage when on low life, which is all damage, whereas this one provides increased spell damage, Bear Trap will be affected by Red Big, but will not be affected by this one. In other words, if I use this one, my Bear Trap damage will still be not the same as without Righteous Fire and without Pain Attunement. But because of this weapon, Bear Traps will deal 100% increased damage, which will probably be very powerful in PvP. I guess that's all I have to say about this build. Oh, one more thing I wanted to cover. Some of you will probably be asking me whether my survivability has actually decreased, considering my HP is now 717. Okay, 695 with this one actually, as compared to 2000 HP before. Well, the short answer is no. My survivability has actually improved. Number one, because I no longer have to worry about chaos damage. Number two, previously, even with 2000 HP, status ailments were still quite a problem in maps. I mean, if you get shocked, your ES will drop rapidly because Righteous Fire is burning you, and shock will increase the amount of damage that Righteous Fire does to you. Because my maximum HP is so low now, even when I get shocked, my ES doesn't drop because Righteous Fire is burning me for a very low amount of damage, and even if that damage is amplified by 60%, it's still not enough to overcome my ES. Also, it gives me a bit more resistance towards curses such as vulnerability, elemental weakness, and flammability, because even if my fire resist were to drop by another 10% or so, I think my ES regen will still out-regen the DPS that I take from Righteous Fire. Okay, just to remove the low life status. As you can see, because I have no health flasks, I have to go back to town if I want to recharge. But yeah, to show my appreciation to you for watching this video to the end, my Templar will now perform a pole dance for you. hope you guys liked the video, and do support the developers of this game because this game is awesome. Thank you.